actually my first stand-up.
Yeah!
Usually I like to embarrass myself on TikTok, but I'm in my 30s now and I love trying new things out of my comfort zone, so here we are. If you couldn't tell, actually, rewind my brain. Okay, so I was going to pretend that you were all naked, but I realized that would make me feel deeply uncomfortable, especially since my friend's husband came back from Florida. Instead, I decided I'm going to pretend that you're all my first graders. If you couldn't tell by the voice, I'm a first grade teacher.
Woo!
How's it going? Not great, I'm sure. But, yeah, so as a first grade teacher, and as a teacher I'm sure you know this, I put on a show every day for the toughest fucking critics. So I figure if I can entertain them, teach them, and keep them alive, I can pretty much do anything. But before we get started, class, let's go over some rules. Make sure you keep your hands where I can see them. You can save the funny business for after school. If you need to go to the bathroom, we don't want you to disturb the class or me. So this is our bathroom symbol. Can everybody show me? Okay, awesome. And then finally, it's one mic, one voice. So who's got the mic? I do. Make sure if you want to share something with the class, you raise your hand. I'm just kidding, it's stand-up, and I guess this is the one time I will allow you to call out. But yeah, like I said, I'm a New York City public school teacher. Kind of, technically. I actually haven't been back to school this year. I decided to take a 6-month restoration of health leave. Do you work for the DOE? Okay, good. First of all, you're lucky. But anyways, I'm honestly not planning on ever fucking going back. Make sure none of you tell on me. And you know what the kids say behind my back about snitches, right? Speaking of kids, I didn't just work with them, I actually almost married one. Let me clarify, because I'm not a pedophile. An overgrown man-child who's probably about the same height. So I would be cleaning up messes, dealing with temper tantrums, teaching, you know, how to manage big emotions and be a decent human being, and then I'd wake up and go to school the next day and have to do the same. But honestly, comparing my first graders to my ex is a huge insult to my first graders. Seriously. Seriously. They were a lot more kind, empathetic, respectful, accountable. Those are our classroom values, by the way. Values that he knew nothing about, because clearly he never had a good first grade teacher. And it showed, unless you count me. They did have some things in common, though, I'm not gonna lie. For example, my ex also needed a signal for when he was throwing a temper tantrum. So he knew it was time for him to take a time out. True story, literally. Except it never worked. Like my first graders, he just really could not handle his big feelings and needed a lot of reminders and lessons, like use your words, don't put your hands on others, just because you don't get your way doesn't mean you can throw things around. But by the end of the school year, my first graders learned those lessons, and that's because they were also way more emotionally intelligent. Oh boy. Something else that they had in common was how fucking cranky they would get if they didn't get enough sleep. Which, for my ex who played video games all night, was quite often. But my first graders would take a nap in the cozy corner and they'd be better. My ex would just take it out on me or anybody else in the vicinity, which I should have expected with a grown man whose mommy was telling him somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Also a true story. I know, what was I thinking? I wasn't in my 30s yet. But that brings me to the final and biggest thing they had in common. They were so enabled by their mommies. Mommy did everything for them, coddled the shit out of them. In fact, my ex's mommy enabled him so much that she perjured herself under oath last year. So that her baby boy could keep the dog he got me for my birthday. I know, even my first graders know you can't take a gift back after you give it to someone. But then again, like I said, they are more accountable. Honestly, it's all good though, because like I said, I've been enjoying my 30s and trying new things out of my comfort zone. So I actually went from almost marrying an overgrown narcissist with the Napoleon complex and mommy issues to being called mommy by a guy 8 years younger, a good foot taller, and like 6 inches longer. So, if you're wondering why I limped onto the stage,